Man, I found a crazy story right here. Yeah, black man stopped by cops more than 70 times. Yeah. In Massachusetts. Check it out.
One black man pulled over more than 70 times in one jurisdiction. I kid you not. This is just insanity.
It really is.
Picture
this is the guy.
This black male in Massachusetts. He is now suing the local police department, the Worcester Police Department, for racial profiling after allegedly being pulled over more than 70 times in the past 8 years.
That's ridiculous.
TJ Judy says he has been suspected of stealing cars. He has been suspected of selling drugs before even being apprehended with a warrant. The report says he was pulled over in 2021 for not updating his new car color on his registration. I need you to understand how petty that is. He got his car painted, okay? He did not inform registration that his car was painted. So they went ahead and, threw the book at him. There's more. However, by law, he wasn't required to. But instead, Judah was charged with disorderly conduct and interfering with a police officer after an intense exchange. They're wrong on the law. He knows they're wrong on the law. There's an argument. Well, let's lock him up for arguing with us. How dare he? I feel like
Well, that's the thing that nowadays when you, especially interact with the cops, you know your rights, you question your authority, you question the stop or detainment or the arrest like that. So they're going to arrest you up and charge you, and they're going to throw another charge at you as well. And especially if you're recording like that.
Every single time, he says, even if I'm not driving and I make eye contact or an officer sees my dreads or sees I'm black, they're going to come after me. I just know whenever they're coming now, I just have my phone ready to record, he told
FTP,
GBH.
Film the Police.
Keep in mind, that's part of the reason for this kind of massive intimidation. The man is saying he's afraid to look them in the eye. Remember, there was a time you could not look a white man in the eye. And whoa, if you look at a white woman at all. You see, this is the permeation of that. Once again, contextualized in Massachusetts in this.
Well, they're back in the old civilization days. I mean, you that has a headmaster. If you make a pass at the daughter or a family member, man, they'll castrate your ass. They'll lock you up. Back in the days, you could look at a certain person, individual in the eye, or you couldn't smile at them and say, hello, how you doing, good morning, because, if you come out there, like, if they're going to sit there and say, oh, your attitude is, is your demeanor, your body language is messed up. So they're going to find any ways to shame you, shut you down. And cops are like that as well.
Jurisdiction, I got more. Massachusetts has long been suspected of engaging in discriminatory activity against black and brown people. Just last year, the Department of Justice launched an investigation into claims of excessive force and racially biased policing. A statewide study from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Public Safety and Security found no evidence to suggest black drivers are more likely to get pulled over. The bulk of their methodology came from a veil of darkness analysis, which concluded non-white drivers were less likely to be stopped by police, but during the day when an officer could determine their race. The previous studies that found black drivers were, in fact, more likely to be stopped or have their vehicle searched were practically disregarded. According to GBH, the city of Worcester paid up to $5 million to settle lawsuits alleging false arrest and excessive force since 2006. Okay, that should defund the police right there.
Right there, right there.
Police don't mind when the police defund each other. Typically, conservatives are not concerned.
And people sit there bitching about like, oh yeah, or like that. No, police themselves defund themselves.
Rally, press conference.
Because you know why they're defunding themselves? It's called lawsuits.
Hashtag defund the police. All of a
taxpayers got to flip the bill of a corrupt
defunding the police doesn't mean to eliminate the policing budget. It simply means to reprioritize it, to actually fight real crime. Do you think pulling over people in this manner, creating lawsuits after lawsuits, do you really think that's giving you a win?
Or especially you got cops who they got nothing to do, so they look at somebody like, oh, he's suspicious, or they're gonna make it say, well, there was a couple of prowl wins, or there was some cars getting stolen, or there was some couple burglaries. So somebody just walking down the street, mind their own business, doing nothing. So cops are gonna investigate and say, well, you look suspicious. We're gonna have to detain you because we deemed that you're a suspicious person, that a reasonable suspicion as well. And with that, I guess, a cop could go out there and go solve a real crime, like an armed robbery, auto theft, grand theft, maybe possibly manslaughter, maybe rape. But they want to stop somebody down the street because, oh, I don't like the way he's dressed. I don't like the way he looked at me. Oh, I didn't like the way his tone is like that. Give me the burr. It says, fuck you, you're a pig, or like that. So I'm going to fuck with him and arrest him. I'm going to make a charge on him.
In that local community, there's more. The chief, let's put him up.
Here's the chief.
Buck stops with him.
Yep, the buck starts with him.
Stephen M. Sargent runs the Worcester Police Department. The department spokesperson said that per policy, the department does not comment on pending litigation. Here's the problem with that.
Yeah, you know what that is? That is cop-splaining 101 at its finest. That's another example of cop-splaining, covering their tracks, and they're not gonna put their ducks in a row. They're gonna cover their tracks. Say, well, we're doing an internal investigation. This is how it is. Yeah, they're just simply backtracking their own ass, covering their we're gonna back our partners in blue. Yeah, cop-splaining. That's what it is.
Comment to the Worcester Police Department. The inquiry is general. Generally, do you all pull over more black people than anybody else? That's not a specific relation to a particular case.
I'll tell you one thing. Go listen to statistic of any jurisdiction, major police department. You're going to see a statistic that more African black people get pulled over than white people. It is true.
We're talking about statistics.
You can look at big police departments, small police departments,
without the
statewide
relationship you have with the state.
I mean, it's case in point. 4 out of 5 males incarcerated in the penitentiary, in state prisons, and jails, are black men.
All right, Rick, thoughts?
Sure. So, first off, I agree with you about defunding, but we need to be very clear about this, and I've said this on plenty of videos when I've covered the intersection of sports and politics at TYT Sports. It's that if we were to have these settlements, it should come out of the police departments.
Exactly.
And it should come out of the policeman or policewoman's pay. It should not come from us. Because when someone sues,
it should come out of their
which
pension.
I think they're totally entitled to when there's false imprisonment, wrongfully detained, blah, blah, blah. It should not come from the taxpayers, because then I think oh, well, how much are we going to have to pay for this? When really it should be rerouted to the unions who have endless power, political control, placing certain people in different positions where they will remain immune. Qualified immunity is another thing that should be completely disbanded.
Bam! Bam! Right there. Right there.
This is an egregious example, but the problem is there are many egregious examples in this country of people who are not...
I love that. I was like, bam! Boom! Qualified immunity gone. Hell yeah.
Like getting pulled over. I'm glad that you brought up the investigation about the thin veil of darkness. 5 to 10% drop at night. The statistics prove it. Also, on top of this, there was a University of Stanford study that showed over 60%, I believe it was 63 to 66% of black drivers were treated differently verbally as opposed to white drivers. So they were mistreated physically, 61%. They were mistreated physically, they were mistreated verbally, and I see all these examples of, and I know some folks hate saying this, but white privilege. Let me tell you something. I drove in California when I was first out here, my first stint. without a California's driver's license for like 3 years. Why? Because I like weirdly felt like it would be the most minor thing. That is minor in the grand scheme of things. So there are many different things. One of them that I found is a person named Brima Fofana, who in 2012 was falsely arrested by this same police department, suspected of drug transactions, dragged from his car. No drugs were present.
Wow.
They claim he tried to run over a police officer.
Whoa.
The lawyers got surveillance footage from a neighboring building. And of course, nothing ended up happening because he shouldn't have been charged in the first place. Another very important part, and then I'll wrap, is when different media outlets will just, without even looking into it, print a police statement.
Yep.
You know, in this case and in the case that we just brought previously, they will falsify because they know, getting back to the root of all of this, if they lie, there is incentive to lie, but if they lie, it's not going to come out of their pocket. If they're proven wrong, it's going to come out of your pocket. And that's,
yeah, and here's the thing as well. You know, if you ever film the cops like that, and sometimes they tell you that, well, we were recording too as well. Yeah, but here's the thing as well. How many times have you hear in and out, day in, day out, that cops, they'll sit and say, yeah, we got body cams, but they edit their body cam footage. You know, and a lot of times, and here's a good point I'm going to make right here, ladies and gentlemen. And sometimes they don't release the body footage as well until there's a lot of media, or in cases, if you want the body footage camera, say if you're stopped by the cops, you need a subpoena in the court of law to get the footage, or you have to go to a loops of a FOIA request, and you have to get a lawyer for that, and that's come out of your own pocket just to get the footage as well. So that's why I sit there and say, make no marks. When you're out there filming the police and they tell you don't, to stop recording or turn you off recording, no, keep rolling. And if they arrest you for it, so be it. That you got your footage as well, and video cameras don't lie. Unlike the cops, when we are out there filming the cops, whether you're a cop watcher or just filming out there, when you're stopped by the cops, hey, we don't edit our footage. We don't sit there and say, oh, I'm not going to release until I get a subpoena or until I get the news media.
It's something that needs to change.
You make such a great point.
Yes.
About the privilege dynamic. There's a book coming out written by a journalist named Crystal Bowie, who's an investigative journalist. She was in Minnesota during the time
Crystal Bowie, I'm going to write that name down and find that book.
And in this book, I was fortunate to get an advance copy of it. In this book, she actually highlights how their news station decided to basically run the police report verbatim.
Crystal Bowie.
What allegedly happened to George Floyd. Just ran it verbatim. Did not ask any questions. No nuance. No check at all. Naturally, they had to run it back after the video came out. But when pressed about it,
there,
the spokesperson for the police department said,
down.
"Oh well, no, I didn't watch video. I just sent out the press release." Well, who told you the information? Well, the cops told him the information. And we have to check these narratives because there was a time when all law enforcement got a pass. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not anti-cop. I'm only anti-bad cop. And you should be anti-bad cop too, because they're taking advantage of the good faith you have in them. They don't deserve it blindly.
Exactly. And here's a problem as well. I have a huge problem. When you get people like the Finding Bench Warmers, the Fellow Cucks, the Splooge Crew, and the UBK Flunky Fucks, and a few others in the Trufa movement as well, they think people who film the cops are nothing but cops, or they're thinking we're cop stalkers. Oh, we hate the police, or if we're on a film or something like that, oh, we're domestic terrorists, we're sovereign citizens. No, 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 no. We have the ability and a First Amendment right to film and take pictures in the public. It's called transparency as well, holding the cops accountable and government officials. It's not about being anti-cop. I love good cops, but the problem in society as well, good cops get railroaded. They try to do the right thing, try to do duty. You get bad cops are about loyalty, protecting their brothers in blue. Good cops want to do the right thing, be righteous. You know, you get a good cop trying to bat out a bad cop, say, hey, you can't be doing that. Hey, that's wrong. You can't be doing that. What are you doing to that? Hey, don't be treating that person like that. And guess what's going to happen to that good cop? He's going to get outed. He's going to get scrutinized. And guess what's going to happen to him? He's going to end up getting skee ball, and he's going to quit, and he's going to be transferred. I'm not anti-cop. I'm anti-bad cops. I'm pro-good cop. Think about it. With that said, I'm out here. My job. Peace out.